Welcome back inside the Villanova Basketball Report. Bob Long here for the V's and O's, where we take you to the whiteboard and we discuss something either upcoming in Villanova basketball or something that we think is going to be really important to keep in mind as the season goes forward. I'll tell you what it is tonight. It's the big matchup against Marquette. Number 14 against number 10 as the Cats go to 5-serve form in what should be their toughest matchup in Big East play of the year. What's so tough about the Marquette Golden Eagles? Real simple. His name is Markus Howard, and he's averaging 25 points per game. He can score from absolutely anywhere, and he runs the show. Think Phil Booth for Villanova. Same type of guy, a little bit more efficient, probably can hit a little bit more of a difficult shot on any given moment, and he has been doing this for so long as their guy for the last 2-3 years. He's an absolute stud. They run a ton of high ball screens, and it's something that we've talked about over the course of the last few years with Villanova. They've struggled defensively, and the reason is because of the big guys that Villanova's had. 3 years ago, I guess, it was Daniel Ochefu, right? Last year, it was Omari Spellman, and now it's Demir Cosby-Roundtree. These two guys right here aren't fleet enough of foot, aren't quick enough to guard somebody on the outside, so that has always prevented the true switch. And when they have switched, Kevin made this point in the last segment, they are very prone to get into foul trouble. Omari, he was athletic enough at times to do it. You see him now in the NBA and being a guy that can play that multiple position, can pop out and shoot the three. So he can play at the perimeter side on offense. On defense, his issue was communication and switching. And so he had similar struggles. So as great as Villanova has been, winning national championships, the bugaboo has always been the high ball screen. And I think it's going to continue on Saturday. So Howard, let's run some play designs here. Markus Howard has the basketball here for Marquette. And Theo John is the big for Marquette. At 6'9", he's going to come up here and deliver a screen. So now John up here delivering a screen. For Villanova, it's Phil Booth. Booth is covering right here. Now Howard's going to come off this screen. Here comes Demir Cosby-Roundtree for the Wildcats, ready to pick him up. This is called a hedge and recover. When Demir Cosby-Roundtree tries to force Howard this way rather than allowing him to turn a corner and go to the hoop. So that's Roundtree's job, is to push him out this way as Phil Booth fights around this screen and is able to recover on Howard. But the problem with all this is that now Theo John, let's clean this up a little bit, right? So we started with Howard here, Booth here, John down here, and Cosby-Roundtree. Now John's up here giving this screen. Roundtree is up here, and Howard's over this way with Booth recovering. So now John is here all alone, as Booth is coming over here and Roundtree is over here as well. So now Roundtree either has to recover in here or you need help from a Joe Cremo or a Sadiq Bey to prevent any cut to the hole. The good thing about Marquette is that John doesn't have the ability to shoot the three-point shot. So you're not going to pick and then pop. You're going to pick and then slip, and you need one of these guys to be able to recover as it's Demir Cosby-Roundtree getting back into the play. That's what happens when Demir Cosby-Roundtree's on the floor. The issue, though, is that Howard is so good, he can launch a shot out of nowhere. John's pretty athletic. He can get to the hole. And then if Sadiq Bey crashes from over here, well, now all of a sudden you have Aneem. If somebody crashes from this side, you have Hauser. And Marquette can space the floor so well, these guys can fire it over the top and hit the three. They can beat you in so many ways. It's a great, great offense that's beaten very good defenses, and Villanova's defense, who hasn't been as successful against the pick and roll, may struggle. Let's replace Demir Cosby-Roundtree. He's over here on the bench, and on in his place comes Jermaine Samuels, right? Samuels has a different type of aspect that he brings to the game. Samuels is down here for Villanova. He's guarding John. Let's run the same set. Howard up here at the top, guarded by Phil Booth. Here comes John to set the screen. Jermaine Samuels, instead of, as Howard comes around here, instead of hedging and recovering, just comes right here, and it's going to be an immediate switch. Booth. So now Howard, after that screen, is right here. Jermaine Samuels is also right here on the wing. Now Booth is guarding John, and John's going to slip to the hole. Booth is likely going to front him because if Booth is back here, all of a sudden John, a couple power dribbles, gets into position and a little curl to the hoop. So Booth has to now front John and say to Howard, you want to throw it over the top? That's the only way you're going to get it to John. That's where Saddiq Bey over here can come in and intercept the pass, anything that has a little bit too much air. This is actually a defensive set that I think can work a little bit better, and why Villanova has gone with smaller lineups at times this year because of Cosby Rountree's struggles defensively. The issue, though, we're going to take everybody off the floor and just evaluate what we just created. So after Samuel switches from John to Howard and Booth from Howard to John, now what you have is Markus Howard out here on the wing against Jermaine Samuels. Isolate that matchup. Who do you like? I like Markus Howard. And so that's going to be a struggle for Villanova. I think they need to change up, throw different looks at him. Perhaps there's a zone look that you throw out there as well. Something like Booth, Colin Gillespie. Let's throw Samuels out here because I like his ability and his length. Saddiq Bey is also very good this way. And who would that put in the middle? Let's just say Demir Cosby-Roundtree. Honestly, I don't see this lineup really happening too often. You know what? You know who I didn't put is Pascal. So let's go with Pascal right in the middle. Samuels now, if Howard's up here and they still try to run, because you can absolutely run high ball screen out of against a zone defense. So John plants himself right here, and as Booth comes into guard, Howard's going to come this way, forces Samuels to come up, but only for a hedge, as then Booth comes right back into the play, and Samuels scoots to the corner. But again, they spaced it so well with Aneem out here and Hauser out here that any type of movement this way and Villanova having to communicate between the upper prong and then the baseline exterior defender is going to create potential problems on the wing and in the corner. So Marquette is going to be a struggle for Villanova to play against from a defensive perspective. They challenge you in so many ways. The answer is that you need to contain Marquette and throw a ton of different looks at them over the course of the game. Some of that's going to be man-to-man with Demir Cosby-Roundtree hedging and recovering. Some of that's going to be pure switching. Jermaine Samuels, Saddiq Bey, guys that can be better in that situation if they are forced to guard Markus Howard for 5 to 7 seconds. And then zone. I wouldn't be surprised to see Villanova go with some zone as well. The more they change up those looks coming out of timeouts, I think the more successful they can be defensively against Marquette. So that's our V's and O's segment here tonight. We'll take you back to the studio. Bob Long, Kevin McClernand. We're going to talk more about Villanova heading into this big week. We'll have our picks, and we'll have a little bit of trivia as well before we get out of here. Thanks for being with us, and we'll be right back.